Hopefully it
licensed
just
in
mostly
Iowa.
stays
We're gonna have one in Minnesota, but something like that, I wonder if you have to have one.
You got it?
He wants to get over too.
We're recording.
Thank you.
We're talking about Joel. Yeah, sometimes they do a really active channel and whatnot. They do there's what's called cracking heads. Okay. They do Pokemon cards. Open them, people, buy a set.
Yeah.
That they have in inventory, and open it up in front of, all you see is hands and cards opening up. Oh, we got a shot or whatever. It's
All right.
all over the world.
It is 7 o'clock. I'll call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Chris, seconded by Kyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Moving on, is there a motion to approve our meeting minutes from last meeting, February 12, 2025?
I'll make said motion.
Motion is made by Ryan, seconded by Chris. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? All right, next, we need a motion to open our public hearings for 3 different things. Rezoning of the lot for the car wash, tax abatement of the car wash, and the change order for the CIP Phase 1, which would now be including, what is that? Second Avenue between Elizabeth and Center, right? Or between Maple and Center.
I'll make a motion to open a public hearing.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion is made by Chris, seconded by Kyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. We will come back to them when we get to them here in a minute. No commissioner report, or sheriff. Jeff, we'll get right to you with Public Works.
We're way ahead of the commissioner and sheriff's report. Can we, stay back until they're caught up with us? Anybody?
Would that be useful?
No.
Need to get your notes together?
Well, they're never here. We've had lots of frozen sewers the last week and a half. As of this afternoon, all the mains are open. I got one service line yet that's still froze that we'll keep working on. Last time I was here, we talked about swimming pool. That liner is starting to show its age a little bit. So we did get some quotes, or a quote from the company that did it before. And that liner is right around $115,000 to replace it, so we were a little shocked by that. Haven't done anything with that, but it was nice to have a number for future budgeting, I guess. Doug's been working on lead and copper. He met with his new Minnesota Department of Health gal last week, I believe. So he has to report all of his addresses now, and they have to approve where he's taking his lead and copper testing, so that's changed a little bit. Other than that, we've been flushing sewer mains, sweeping town. The new bleachers are out in the park, new aluminum ones by the second 2 diamonds. And I think the diamonds got mowed today too. I don't think I have anything else. I'll hang around with you guys. Good?
Thanks, Jeff.
Any initial questions for Jeff right away, or?
Jeff, as far as the liner, is that like in the next 3 years, 2 years, what's the situation?
When you find the money.
You find the money.
Yeah. We've had some cracks that we are fixing. We are having a little bit of water loss. I don't know how much, I can't, you always have a certain amount of water loss, but, that pool liner got put in the year I started here, so, it's '06, like the summer of '06, it got put in.
So the older it is, we just start to lose more and more water?
Yeah, it cracks, it'll flake a little bit. You know, depending, this winter, we left a little water in the bottom. They always tell you to leave a little water in the bottom, because there's been stories of a pool will push out of the ground with the frost. So we had some cracks in the 12 feet that we fixed. You can see them if you go out there. It doesn't look as nice, but I don't think it's leaking terribly, but it's something that we have to have on the radar, you know, in the next number of years. I think we can get by for a while, but if we don't start preparing for it, I don't wanna come some spring, May 15, and,
Sorry,
line
kids.
shot, and we already saw when the pool's not open for 1 week, how that goes over, so.
Last year we had a leak on,
The baby pool,
The
that's,
baby
that's
pool.
all fixed.
okay. And when we noticed that there was significant water loss, there was, a struggle to maintain the chemical levels initially.
We bypassed one of the returns, so we can at least live through the summer, but that is fixed.
Okay. Gonna move on. Any community concerns here tonight? Hearing none. Speak up now. Okay, I'm gonna move on to some new business. First thing is that real estate retrievers addendum.
I think our last contract was for 3 years. This is the first renewal. Any additional marketing here for the new development helps as well.
If we renew this, is it how long for then?
Is it 1 year?
2026.
1 year.
Oh, there it is.
So after the first 3 years, it looks like an annual renewal.
I just couldn't find the date, now I see it.
Yep.
Is there a motion to extend that contract?
I'll put a motion to extend.
Is there a price on that? I know it's,
I believe it's 6% of listing.
okay. I'll support, or second.
Okay, motion is made by Kyle, seconded by Chris. All in favor extending the real estate retrievers contract by 1 year, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, next we have a building permit for the Talsmas. This is property in that side street off the circle. that setback is far enough on the, we'll call that the southwest side there from that corner.
Yes, I don't believe there's any issues.
Just a slight angle on there, it's not really any much closer there. Do they, I know we've maybe done it before, and that maybe can be done later. There was no price on there, but that's what we set. That's what we use for the permit price, because it's such a percentage.
Right, right.
I mean, it can probably get passed, but we'd have to figure out what that is before we actually get them a permit. To know what to put that at.
I didn't even notice that. We can, call and verify here with, Don and Iris here just before it's issued.
And like I said, I'm fine if we wanna go ahead and pass it, just before they would actually get a permit, we have to know how much to put on there.
Yep.
Any questions on that otherwise? Is there a motion to approve or not?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second the motion.
Okay,
Building permit.
alright, motion to pass the building permit is made by Chris, seconded by Ryan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. And you'll get a hold of them, just touch base with the price before we get that.
Will do.
Alright, the last one under new business, public school.
So we had the plans, come in, sent them out to DGR to review. Riley had a couple of issues that you were looking into that were brought up. Gosh, help me out here, was it flow rate here for the, sprinkler system, and then there was something else or something.
Yeah, so the consultant's working on the school project that just reached out, looking for some information for their design. So there's been some, they're still working on their design, but some coordination there, and talking with Joel. I'm not sure exactly where they're at, but expectation is that they'll be following up soon with a full plan set for the building project for the school, which would be submitted to the city for review, which kind of spurred the discussion about us helping out to do a plan review of the site work for, general compliance with, typical like engineering design standards or things that should be accounted for in that part of town for future planning for infrastructure projects and things of that sort, which is typical, would fall within like the agreement that we have with the city for just like miscellaneous services. One of the things that falls under there is plan reviews as they come up. We do that for a lot of towns. It doesn't come up that often in Edgerton and other communities the size of Edgerton, but from time to time it does, and this would be one of those scenarios. So I don't know if there's anything else, Joel, you wanted to mention beyond that, but that was kind of the what's come up recently on the school project. So I don't think we've seen a full plan submittal at this point. I think they're maybe still working on that. Some of the recent coordination is more related to fire flows and accounting for that for their building sprinkler system and a couple other design questions they had.
Is
So
this,
their plans will be reviewed by the state of Minnesota and just request DGR to look over it for anything outside that may be problemsome in the future. That's the reason.
is this project already bid out? I mean, or not yet?
I don't have those, details,
They bid it out, it came back way too expensive, so they've sent a bunch of stuff back and part of it came back and they're waiting for the new bids to come back.
So they have, they just don't, they don't have it back yet.
They bid yesterday.
They did bid yesterday.
Yeah, that's right there.
And this won't affect that bidding process really, or?
Potentially, I guess we haven't been fully in the loop, I didn't know it bid yesterday, but, if we were to review the plans, there could be things that we would, maybe point out that, maybe we'd want them to take a look at or consider, for just to set things up better for the city in the future. Maybe they have everything perfect the way it is, but hard to say without looking at it, haven't seen the plans yet, so. Usually those plans do go through a city, review process. Not saying some small towns I work in, sometimes that gets looked over and doesn't end up happening, but.
Well, after looking through this 117-page document, I think it looks pretty good, so.
Yeah. That was my fear.
Feels accomplishment, right?
Get lost in there a little bit.
Luckily, when we look at it, we can take about 80 of those pages and throw them away because they're inside the building, so.
Is there anything we need to do with this, or is that?
This is just more of
Just-
a heads up
Okay.
that, as DGR look at, the plans to see if there's anything that's going to, create a problem for the city into the future. It's that simple.
Okay. Thank you. All right, that's, any questions about that before we move on? Okay, then we're gonna move back into some continued business stuff. We're gonna start with the car wash. Before, we can still discuss this in our public meeting, but before we do make any decisions, we'll have to close that part of the public hearing as well, so. Let's start with the rezoning part of that.
So, well, let's just step back here. Number one, over this last month, no one came in inquiring about additional information at all. I've heard nothing but encouragement about this project throughout the community. Chamber of Commerce, there's a couple questions, but it's just additional questions regarding water rates. Everything has been very positive. Now, the rezone is really due to providing a way for the city to deliver negotiated water rates. That's really what the rezoning is there for.
Does that matter, I said we can start with the rezoning. Does that matter if we start with that before we discuss the water rates then? I mean,
Sure could.
maybe we should start with the water rates
Okay.
first. Not saying we wouldn't get approved, but if it doesn't, then we're not gonna go to the rezoning. So why don't we do that first? Let's discuss our water rates first, and then we'll go back to that rezoning. So when, what you had in our packet here, the orange highlighted, is that the before rates? Is that correct?
Printed everything, but
go back to January and find the first one, and I didn't see it.
There we go. So those rates there in orange, those are the rates as of, gosh, I wanna say June or July of 22. Does that sound about right when we had our big increase?
Yeah, 22 or 23, I don't remember which one, I think it would be
Yeah.
22.
And those rates were reviewed by, well, a committee that we discussed here from the council. Chris, were you on that committee with Craig, a water committee, to discuss rates? And that's when we were working with Darren at the time.
So that $494.29, so that $500, that is the estimated cost of what, per month?
That is the per month based on, 2,000 gallons a day, so that's 60,000 gallons, and that's over a 30-day period. Then average car, what, 65 to 80 gallons per wash. Does that sound about right?
Correct.
Yep. And then when you see there on the right-hand side are the number of washes. You know, at the low end here, 65, that's 30.77 per day. Or the 80 gallons, that's $25 per day. Yeah, yeah. Did I send you that one?
Do we still need a bigger TV?
Gotta fill it up to your screen. Yeah, that's right. That's the numbers we were looking for.
All right, are there any questions, comments about that?
The whole purpose of the rate increase back in the day was less about sustainability and more about feasibility of funding for the improvement project, correct?
It was really two different reasons. Number one, here we had to increase our rates to ensure that our loans that we're closing on right now, we could really cash flow on. Two is our loan and grant household income. You know, like, we had to get up to like 1.5, 2% of median household income before we really start getting more grants. And so it's really progress towards that.
Okay.
So it's really ticking multiple boxes. That, and then, at the time, our sewer fund was operating at negative cash flow. We had to increase our sewer fund substantially.
Is this water rate discussion, is that a permanent thing? Is there a time frame associated with it? I guess
This will be for 10 years.
it is.
And previously, talking to Trav here, is that this contract that delivers the negotiated water rates, there's a timeline on it, 10 years, same time as the abatement. At the same time here, there's gonna be like an adjustment wrote into the contract in the event that if the city does use 118,000 gallons of Lincoln Pipestone, we get a surcharge, and that means that to comply with state statutes, we can't offer a product less than what we pay. Today, we're using roughly 30,000 gallons of Lincoln Pipestone a day, so we are nowhere near that. But again, here, when we enter this contract, we're not just thinking of today, we've got to think of 8, 9, or almost 10 years down the road.
And this will strictly be for that zone.
Correct.
Is there any considerations for transfer of ownership? And or does there need to be?
That can be discussed. We never addressed that here prior.
I think it would be good that it would be able to transfer, say, one of the four of us would wanna get out, you know what I mean? That would go with the property.
Well, technically, if you zone it as such, it should, correct? I mean, that kind of defeat the purpose of creating the zone, if it was not transferable.
Any other information anybody would like, or would you like to make a motion to move forward with these rates, or suggest something else?
So what you need? You need a motion right now?
I think we need to approve the zone and then the rates here.
That's fine,
Yep.
So yeah, first thing, if, be a motion to, well, do we have to close that before we vote on these, though?
Public hearing?
We should.
Half hour.
Okay. Before we vote on that, we should close the public hearing portion. We're not quite to the other talking points for a couple of the things, but no one has shown up to this point, and I'm not too worried about anybody else showing up, so. Is there a motion to close our public hearing?
Yep, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second the motion.
Motion is made by Chris, seconded by Ryan. Ryan, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
And that was to close the public hearing for,
Okay.
I suggested it could be for all, but if Chris would like to specify that, that's up to him, I suppose.
No, close for all.
Okay, car wash, rezoning, tax abatement, and change order for CIP.
I don't figure any of you would speak out against yourselves, so I'm just assuming no one is coming at this point, since we've been open for quite a while now.
We can lock the door.
Yeah. So then the first thing next would be if there is a motion to approve resolution 2025-12, which is the rezoning resolution.
I'll make a motion to, move forward on resolution 2025-12, to rezone 111 Mill Street.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion is made by Chris, seconded by Kyle. Is there any discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, that is passed. Next, unless there's more discussion that you would like to have on it, is there a motion to approve negotiated water rates as they were before us?
I'll make a motion to, approve to discuss water rates for the new zone.
I'll second that.
Motion again made by Chris, seconded by Kyle. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, now that those are taken care of, the next thing would be to discuss the tax abatement. So yeah, proposed tax abatement would be for the next 10 years.
You need a motion on that? Or you wanna continue to discuss?
You can make a motion and we can discuss after, before we vote, or we can discuss it now, it doesn't matter.
Joel, was that abatement for city taxes, city, county? I think-
Just city.
Right.
City only.
Right.
Was there an attempt to get any county abatement, or,
There
I-
wasn't, I guess the process is.
I didn't, I was just
well, we have
curious.
to have an attorney write something up and go through a process, so.
Okay.
I don't think we thought it was probably worth enough to do that from the county's end of it.
That's fine, just curious.
Yeah, so no, we did not.
Right, we're just gonna handle the abatement like a refund. That's the simplest way to handle it. That's how we handle the appointment fine bill abatement.
You pay it and then you rebate it back, right?
Yes, yep.
That's how the county does it.
Excuse me.
Any discussion on that?
No.
I'll make a motion to move forward to tax abatement resolution 2025-13.
I'll second.
Okay, motion is made by Chris, seconded by Ryan. No discussion on that. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion passes. Let's see. Then the final thing, would be to actually approve the building permit. We saw a lot of that last meeting, discussed some of that last meeting. Decided to hold off until we figured out the rates and abatement and stuff like that. So is there any other discussion on the actual building permit now that those things are settled? Or is there a motion ready to be made to approve the building permit?
What are you gonna name this thing? Let's get to the important stuff here. What are you gonna name this thing?
That's Darren's department.
Darren's Car Wash,
Darren's.
is that the official name?
Darren's Car Wash have a cell phone number. I don't know, it would be like probably Mill Street, something,
So the existing building won't be used, that's not gonna be part of the car wash?
not as part of the car wash.
And that's the non-concrete on the thing, concrete is just is,
Yeah, the concrete that goes all the way out to the road on the design order is in front of the car wash portion of it. We couldn't find anybody to do the rest of the concrete, so we had to hold it off. Nobody rented one. No, yeah, so as of now, I guess we have concrete in front and behind the manual and automatic bay or whatever, from front to back.
Some of that could change, I think it's in the, it may be, we're still discussing a laundromat, of some sort there, we're not 100% sure. If a laundromat would come into play, we need a little more parking, but we'll address that once we.
Probably be after the building is up and
Yeah.
at a later time.
Yeah, it's in an existing, it maybe be, you know, another 8 to 10 feet of concrete to the east, just for parking in front of the laundromat.
is it gonna need a alcohol permit for the laundromat? Suds and brews.
You approved that, that was in the rezoning.
We were
Yeah.
wondering about the cannon.
I say, now we're adding features to the city.
Just missing the lanes.
Cannabis out back, that way we don't have to worry about things like county
You
cannabis.
bet.
This will be the drawing that shows that.
Bowling alley vibes.
The drawing we have in front of it.
This is not the new one.
That's what you sent me the other day.
It is.
This is,
Okay.
Yep.
this is the newest.
Oh, so you can scroll up and have it on a page.
This should show concrete for, you know,
Oh,
I
is
would
that
say
what
the
you're talking
most it would be.
Oh, yeah, that's. And that,
There you go.
Right here?
oh, yeah, so you extend the concrete, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about in the existing building right now, yep.
Yeah.
So, the original drawing, the concrete would have stopped about right here, but we pushed
Okay,
that
I see.
out to this point.
Yep.
The laundromat would be here, we put an outdoor vacuum here, so it'd be enough for 2 parking spots here, then a pet wash station here with 1 parking spot in front of that, and you'd still have 2 clear bays into the wash.
Yep.
But a few of them things are up for discussion yet, and we don't know exactly how it's gonna
Can't believe no one's asked about breaking ground.
next week.
Darren's.
Yeah, they're there. Yeah, probably pretty quick.
Is there a motion to be made?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the building permit.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion is made by Ryan, seconded by Kyle. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? You guys can start building the car wash.
Get out of there We've done our part.
I do want to say thank you guys for working on this. I know before all of you were involved, you were kind of working on this for the past few years, so it's nice to see something come and be done about it. It's nice to see something new in town again, so.
Well, we appreciate you guys working with us too, so.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna keep moving on here. Capital improvement plan. Nobody is here for that public hearing, so you don't have to defend yourself anymore, Riley.
Unless Travis.
Is this a plan for the change order or is this the? Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, authorizing.
Yeah.
So yeah, this would be the change order to incorporate
Yeah.
Second Avenue.
Yeah. So, we had
That's
a,
on my ass.
yeah,
Travis is learning, he's got more work.
the intent of the public hearing is because we're doing special assessments on the project. So one of the requirements per the state statutes, if you're gonna do special assessments, is you gotta have an improvement hearing at this point before you go out and do the work. So we already did that, for the project, way back when. We did the same thing, and some people showed up. It was obviously like, a lot more people, 100 people that were invited to that one, 100 properties or maybe more. This one's 5 or 6 properties, and we already had phone calls and meetings with most of them. So not really surprised that nobody showed up, but had a PowerPoint plugged in there, but if you're all good with it, we can skip over that piece of it and expedite it a little bit, unless you want to hear me talk for 10 minutes about that.
Was there a pushback from the
Um,
residents?
No, not the ones we've talked with so far.
Okay.
There's 2 of them we haven't been able to get a hold of, so I don't know about them, but they didn't obviously make it tonight. The other 4, well, 3 other ones that are gonna be assessed, and then plus 2 other that are in that area we talked with, they were receptive of it, nothing, no real concerns. Just wanted to know what was gonna happen, when it's gonna happen, if their trees are gonna go and things like that, so nothing, no real pushback, I would say.
How far will that actually go? Will you go into that whole intersection on the north side?
Yep.
Redo
So-
all the corners and everything there?
Yeah, yep, that's the intent, is to do the block, and then do the whole intersection at Second and Center, and then do some temporary tie-ins in
Yep.
the 3 directions, going north and west and east. And that should allow us to spend up pretty much what's left for budget on the project, which is the whole intent behind this change order in the first place. And then when it comes time for phase 2, basically those temp tie-ins going north and west and east those blocks going in each direction are intended to be part of phase 2, the way it's mapped out now.
Yep.
So, change order, really what it includes is all of that work to tear that out and do the utilities and put the road back on that block and that intersection. And then it extends the completion dates for the project to allow Holstein the time to do that. So it'll extend the substantial completion date to July 1st, I think, and final completion date to July 21st. And in my conversation with Pat McKnight, Holstein's project manager on the project, they're scheduled a little bit up in the air and kind of weather dependent at this point, see what happens the rest of the winter, spring here. But he was hoping that they could get in first part of April, and thinking that, they should be able to get it knocked out, by sometime in May or mid-May, end of May. It shouldn't, if the weather cooperates, he was anticipating they wouldn't need to use that full window to July 1st, so
Yeah, it absolutely shouldn't take that long. It's just, we have a spring, like last spring, when we started in the rain for a month, well, then it will take that long.
You're a little higher up the hill this time.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, but yeah,
intent is to get started kind of right away, but need to get the change order approved, and then they'll order their manholes, and they gotta wait to get the manholes before they can really get rolling on underground work. So, a little bit of a process there.
Yep.
So, that's
That,
all,
that
I
one.
mean, that's
No, that
what
north
the
one
change
does.
order.
Does it?
maybe doesn't.
No,
matter.
it's this one, that's bad.
Okay.
It's off the block.
That's pretty much all the change order will do, extend out those completion dates, add $673,000 roughly to the contract to make all that happen. So I can answer any other questions, but that's what we're looking at for scope and timeline. I guess on top of that, I'll add, there's punch list stuff that, punch list work that Holstein is planning to work on it at the same time here this spring to button up a few things on everything else that got done last year, so.
They were doing some stuff today, so.
Already working on that.
Trev, do you have any thoughts or considerations on this? I mean, you understand stuff, we'll never know.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the unit pricing on this had to jump up a little bit, and like, a lot of the reason for that is for this portion is, to get started, is about 40-foot pipe, and then you got a couple hundred feet of decent digging, and then you put a manhole in, a stub, and a stub, and a stub, I don't know if is it all directions, in the next intersection.
Yeah.
So it's just all stub, 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 so it's all short little sections of pipe. But it also eliminates it for the next phase for if we, or anybody else gets it, the hard portion, the intersection takes longer than the whole block. So,
Sure.
yeah, so if you've seen that, oh, sorry. Do you want me to repeat that?
Everyone else is gone, but my colleague can
Sorry.
speak up.
That's all I really had, other than that, yeah, it's just pretty weather dependent, I mean, if it's a spring like last spring, we'll probably be bumping up to that date, but we're definitely hoping that it, get started real soon. And we'll order manholes, if approved, we'll order manholes tomorrow, and that's, they take a couple weeks to get, and once we get those, we'll be ready to roll, so. No challenges though, besides normal.
I'm good. Okay, I think that covers the construction timeline. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the resolutions that, are listed on there, just to explain those, I guess. Those are also part of the special assessment process. First one being, ordering an improvement, preparation of plans, so you're basically ordering the change order plans to be prepped, and then approving plan, approving the change order plans and specs, and then approving the change order. That'll get you to where you need to be in that special assessment process, so now we move on and do the construction. You might recall, for those that were part of the conversations way back when, that when we get to the end of this project, we gotta revisit assessments, and we do another public hearing called the assessment hearing, and everyone on the project will receive notice again, and it'll be published in the paper, and we'll send out their estimated final assessment for their improvements along their property, and they'll come back and we'll go through everything. Anyone who shows up can explain why, any questions they have or why they think their assessment should be reduced or things like that. So, and before that, well, I guess I'll say that's likely to happen sometime later this summer. And I just working with Joel and talking about this a while back, it makes sense that the project, the work gets done, and those assessments get finalized, and then for those that don't pay their assessment or don't want to pay it, and they want to have it roll into their taxes, they can get that information to the county this fall before they finalize everything for tax payments that come out, invoices, if you will, for next year. For those that want to have their assessment rolled onto their taxes, it'll be the council's duty to determine how long of a term and what interest rates those are at. And construction work is done, well, one of your meetings will have to, go through that and determine what that should be, how many years, what interest rate. And so those people that, we notify later this fall, they can be told.
Will that be a blanket decision, like, we're not gonna, somebody wants a 10, somebody wants a 5, they want this, they, you know,
Haven't,
we're not gonna like
Typically-
split it up, we're gonna make a
Yeah.
decision across all the assessments usually, right? I mean, is that,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be typical, you just, choose, one term and one interest rate, and anyone can decide if they wanna do that and let it roll onto their taxes, or if they just wanna come down to City Hall and write a check and be done with it, and pay it all up front. What's typical for interest rates and terms, I mean, they can vary from community to community, but terms, some communities will go on the short end, like 5-7 years. More common, it's like, we see a lot of 10 to 15 year timeframes to let them pay it back over. Interest rates, what's mostly standard is like 1% above whatever the city's paying on your funding interest rate. That's, not every community follows that either, but that's kind of a starting point for a lot of communities.
Yep.
We'll get to discuss that and finalize that and revisit assessments a few months from now, so.
okay,
Everything's kind of dictated on how fast the work gets done. The project gets done, we close our loans, and then we roll into assessments. Hopefully, it's all spread out over 3 or 4 months, but
Yep.
we need some decent weather to get the project completed.
I had a question on the first resolution here. Just the way it's written down on the bottom, we're missing one of our councilmen. Is that gonna be a problem? Or can I be a qualifying vote in this or not, since there's no tie?
I think we need to,
Just, it's just the way you have it written that,
Majority is what, 70%, 75%, what is
As long
that?
as we have a quorum, all 3 out of 3 voted.
As long as we're a unanimous decision, you still make supermajority.
okay,
I think, what it says in there, I don't have it in front of me, but it says it's supposed to be a 4/5 super, or 3.
yeah, it says the number 7, this resolution blank, did pass by the at least 4/5 supermajority. So it's written out as 4/5 instead of just supermajority, so I'm just wondering if that's, do we have to reword that, or is that fine?
I thought we would just black out the 4/5.
As long as everybody understands that, then we're fine, I just,
My understanding of it is you don't have to have 5 votes. You just need to have, of the votes that you have, at least 80% of them need to be,
okay,
the ratio needs to be in favor of it. So that's why
I-
I believe your
Yeah.
name is, that's kind of a legal question.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we put in the stipulation that we, this is gonna get changed, like I won't sign this document, but we might have to reword that bottom a little bit, just so that we did pass by a supermajority, of the 3 were all yeses here. If they all vote yes, I'm just saying,
Yeah, perhaps we could, vote in favor of it, we can, if we need to check on that and make sure we're following the rules.
what's that?
Well, we can sort it out.
Yeah, everyone vote yes, and we'll make sure we get this documented right.
I don't see an issue with it unless somebody votes no, it just, yeah,
I think you're covered.
I just wanna make sure we're gonna do it right, so. Let's see. But that would be where we're gonna start with resolution 2025-09.
Need a motion?
Yes,
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-09, ordering improvement and preparing plans.
Support.
Okay, motion is made by Ryan, seconded by Chris. I'm gonna do a roll call vote just to make sure I get all the yeses correct. Chris, yes or no?
Yes.
Ryan, yes or no?
Yes.
Kyle, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, then that is 3 yeses. And I would say yes if I need to say it yes, but I don't know if I do or not, so. Okay, next, resolution 2025-10, approving the plans and specifications and ordering change order.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-10, approving plans and specs and ordering the change order.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Chris, seconded by Kyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion passes. And last, 2025-11, authorizing the change order for phase 1.
I'll make a motion for resolution 2025-11, approving change order.
Second.
Okay, motion is made by Kyle, seconded by Chris. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Thanks again, Riley. Should take care of our CIP portion for tonight.
Yeah, just for tonight, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, Travis.
And back to work, buddy.
So I will sign those two, Joel, and then we'll have to, do you want me to sign that one, or do you want to change something on there?
You wanna send over a Word copy?
Yeah,
I think
if you wanna
that-
change it, yeah, we can,
I think we have that in PDF.
yeah, I'll get you a word copy
Okay.
tomorrow. We can change
And then
it.
I'll stop by and
Yep.
we'll get that one. I just want to make it look right.
Yeah. No, your previous city attorney helped set that one up, 2 years ago.
That
So,
Ben?
yeah, yeah, so, we had him here tonight, he'd probably give us the answer, but,
In about an hour of talking.
yeah.
And
So what you're saying is you miss them?
I had no problem moving forward, I just, the way that one shows it, it just doesn't look right if there's 3 votes. And then it says, yes, you passed by 4/5. It's like, I don't know what that means.
That's your chance to be there.
All right, small cities grant,
Yep.
excuse me.
The first part here is the environmental review. It's out here for the viewing. This is a federal project. Got it? Got it.
Thank you.
So the compliance part of this small cities program, it's pretty nutty. So it goes into everything, flight patterns, migration for birds, absolutely everything. I sent out, I don't even know how many letters, 40 letters to Native American tribes to see if anyone has family that's been buried around the area. Again, this is federal compliance for grant money. And right there is 300-400 pages with the summary. So really, all this is doing is we are complying with the request, making public notice here in this meeting, in this public meeting, that the environmental review is out for anyone to stop by and burn a couple hours. That's really it regarding the small cities grant. There's gonna be something every month here for this that's federal compliant paperwork stuff. So this is the start of it.
Okay.
Mayor has
Yep.
for the same thing.
All right, moving on, unless there's questions on that. Okay, last thing, health hazard.
As you saw in your folder here, our attorney has formally stepped down. She's been appointed to the bench. Matt
Excuse me.
Gross, we've been working with him for about a year and a half or so. This last week here, I had a conference call with Kayla and Matt to go over everything that she was working on and pivot towards him. Matt does not like how this was really moving forward, you know, and he really wants us to work with Southwest, what's the Southwest?
Hill, yep.
There you go, thank you. So I've got a call with all the history tomorrow with another social worker, not the homeowner social worker, but someone that manages them, tomorrow to go over the different options we have. The ideal situation is the homeowner needs some help, a cleaner environment to get well. That's kind of the bottom line. So, and our attorney referred us to this gentleman that manages the social workers. So, caught me off guard. I'm going down the road that you all requested that we go down here, and so I'm just doing the best that I can, but at the same time here, we're trying to help our property owner as well. I don't know how this is gonna play out, but right now it's my understanding that our attorney doesn't, or is not ready to go down the legal road of a hearing and formally raising the home at this time.
Did he happen to elaborate as to why?
It's my understanding that he has went through multiple social workers in the past to resolve the issue. And there's other ways that this can be resolved, and he likes the idea of the county taking this over or filing for conservatorship over a person. So he's looking at it through a different legal means than what we were advised prior. Beyond that, I feel like biting my tongue because we were heading toward the finality, and then we were just told to hold tight.
Got a little detour.
Yeah, yeah. So I will have more information on that here this next month on how to proceed at this time. If someone else would like to follow up here in the next week or two, you're pretty interested in how this all plays out, feel free to stop by. I think this is gonna be pretty fluid over this next 2 weeks. The only reason that I do not have the social worker in on my call tomorrow is because I believe they're out of town till this next week. And I think the person that I was referred to really wanted to get this on their schedule this week. He started to hear what's going on, and after multiple requests, I did accept the meeting here for tomorrow, as opposed to having everyone in a conference call, so. Anyway, one meeting tomorrow, and we'll probably have another one this next week, is what I'm thinking. So I'll let you all know more this next month, or feel free to stop by.
So is he currently living there?
If there's no other questions on that, I had a question. Did we, now that we have that official letter of her terminating herself as our city attorney, do we have to make a motion for, what's his name, Matt Gross, how do you say it?
We formally appointed him in January as our attorney.
Did we? Okay, I couldn't remember.
Oh, you know what?
Cause I think we did know, maybe we talked about that, maybe we knew back then that,
At
She
that
already
time,
knew.
we didn't know that she was gonna resign or she was gonna be appointed at all.
okay,
But we appointed Matt as our attorney, but Kayla was still managing other
Okay.
projects. You know, like, I thought this was gonna be a bigger issue due to our phase one project. I talked to, Jeff Van Buren, our state director for USDA, and he said, right now, just closing our first, big USDA loan. Right now is kind of like the best time to pivot to a new attorney because she already signed off on all the easements,
Yep.
which is a crazy amount of paperwork to look over. It's all title work stuff that.
no, that's fine, if we had to do a little housekeeping with that or not, but I think, yeah, that's all good to go then, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we already closed all our public hearings and made motions and decisions regarding those three things, so anything else in your city report, Joel?
Let's see here. Next meeting is April 9th. Harley Ventoff, we completed at least, just waiting for him to come in. The phase one finance impact here, I just kind of went down how the numbers all play out. The new block is roughly gonna be 770 new equipment here, about 30 grand, and then roughly speaking, 30 grand for the new sewer jet. So those are pretty high level numbers, just kind of heads up. In that 770 number, in terms of that next block, there's a pretty considerable amount of contingency built into that as well. So that's the reason we're hoping that we'll be able to put more money towards that sewer jet. Next page. So on the next page here, I started going into a little finance here. How is this gonna work phase 2 through 7? So right now here, what we did for this phase one, we had USDA, PFA, Minnesota PFA, Finance Authority, Public Finance Authority, there we go. We had a large grant from them. We only get the PFA money when there's a large bonding. So that's part of the reason that we had to wait 2 years or so before we had the money to start this project. So that's number one. Number two, this last week I went to that City on the Hill. It was a meeting with League of Minnesota Cities, and that's where I saw how other people are financing some of their own special projects. You know, we kind of joke about the whole Olympic pool, the city center and all that stuff. Well, there's ways that people are doing this, and I'm just trying to figure out how we can get our water and sewer project considered as part of a bill or bonding. So right here, I told you that I'm gonna be working on the congressional spending here with Senator Klobuchar, so that's number 2. Number 3 is the state bonding. Next Wednesday, DGRI, Joe Schumacher, he's representative out of Laverne here. He's putting us on a call with his legislative research aide to put together bonding here for our project. Again, the only way this works is if there's a large bonding moving forward. And I asked Joe, you know, how this all works, money, what do you request? And he said that you request the full boat, 27 million, and wait until they come back and negotiate from there. So we're just following everyone's lead regarding that. And then the last bit here, something else that was brought up here when I was at that seminar. They started talking about different areas that you can garner grants and all that. Well, they talked about, the, road and bridges, bucket, acquiring grant monies for that. Well, I told Riley, that when you're looking at the budget here for phases 2 through 7 and all that, let me know what the water and sewer is, and let me know what the road costs would be totally separate, so that I can request that money from another bucket as well. So we're looking at 7 ways to skin a cat. That's all this is. No one does this, but we're just trying to figure out how we can do this without sapping the local community. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line. There's other communities around us that have moved forward with their water and sewer projects, and their debt per person is absolutely insane, where in the future, like someone in my position, you're not gonna be able, probably gonna have to hire, someone like me, even, I don't know, a CPA moving forward, just due to the debt load that the community has. So again, here, I'm trying to keep that debt down as much as we possibly can. Next, here, wellhead easement, Spencer's project's done. We'll probably have another project in the next 60 days. I know that this party is looking at tax planning. If it all jives, then we'll have another request. And then, of course, the car wash. That's absolutely awesome. It all worked out. I don't even know how long that project has been in the pipeline. What do you think, Kurt?
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, quite a while.
Maybe not so heavily all that time, but for 4 years, even when he started working on that with the guy in Laverne, but
How long ago did they tear the other one down?
Well, the other one was,
It was junk, but I mean,
Yeah.
how long ago was that?
had to be 8 years ago, 7.
It was here when I moved here.
How long ago did you move here? That'd been,
6.
see, it was here then? So
Yeah,
then
I
it
used to-
had to be
Because
gone
Darren-
shortly after that.
Darren hasn't been out there 4 years, I don't think, yet.
No, I think he's
right,
3 this summer.
he was able to acquire that, and I
5.
was here when he requested that building. Right?
Probably 5
So
years
that's
ago
probably
then?
2021, February 2021, I texted Darren and said, I heard you bought the car wash.
So it's 4 years ago.
So 4 years ago.
Wow.
Boy, it feels like a lot longer.
Yeah, it does.
That's why I never delete old text messages. There's a lot of.
Well, I built Darren's building, so it was like, it feels more
But
than
the years,
4
you
years
know, it's
ago.
just like, how long was, I know, it's hard to keep it all straight.
Yep.
All right, and then my last page here, is this where you got me talking about the whole, pool and all that? City on the Hill, over the day I learned there are multiple ways to finance or raise money needed project deal, saying it's not, what you know, it's who you know. I mean, that's even more apparent here today at this level when we're talking about these numbers we are. It's just crazy how the politics works in St. Paul. So, that was my first time that I went to, that particular, league event, and it was very, very interesting. So just moving forward here, I'm just gonna have to, follow up with our state reps a little more and inquiring about what bills and, how else we can, acquire more grants for our water and sewer project. And I think it's very reasonable, just because this is all needed stuff. We're not requesting anything for lavish, city center pool or parks and stuff like that. This is just to drink clean water and, have a functional quality sewer.
Does that mean like, is that once a year?
That City on the Hill?
Yeah.
I think that is, but I, should probably turn into, I don't know, while they're in session, probably just about every month, stop by and have a meeting with Bill and Joe on a regular basis. The problem with meeting with, our senators is that, we've got 4 or 5 offices throughout the entire state, and the quality of support here, it varies quite a bit. I've talked to
with councilman or mayor going with you next time?
I don't think it could hurt. I think it's all about keeping Edgerton top of mind when there are projects that we could have our request flow into a bill or bonding. It really cannot hurt.
Is it a one-day meeting?
It's 30 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's. All right, so guys, here, get this. You come into their office, you walk down, and there's this bulletproof hut with 4 officers right there waiting. You let them know who you're there for, and they say, all right, one moment, and they give you like a little sticker badge. They say, go over and wait at the elevators. Elevators, I'm waiting for someone to come down from Joe's floor, right? They come down, who are you here for, Joe? So they bring you up to the floor that Joe's on, and there's another receptionist with another security door. What time's your meeting? What time's your meeting? 3:30. So they take your time and all that, and then you're just sitting there waiting until 3:30. 3:30 comes, all right, you're good to go, and there's someone else that lets you behind the security door to go back and meet your rep. So there's no dropping in, say hello, because you've got to get over 3-4 different hurdles and in multiple security. So you've really got to have meetings organized before you even go. But in terms of the length of the meeting, it's really a 20-minute dog and pony show. We really need some help here for this. Stress how important it is, our debt per person. Our community's already paying $150 to $170 on average for water and sewer. We really need some financial assistance. So we can sure do that. You know, reach out to councilman, mayor. Let me know next time I go.
All right, thanks, Joel.
Yep.
Receipts and disbursements from the month of February. Questions, concerns, anything? If not, is there a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion to approve those receipts and disbursements.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Chris, seconded by Kyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, our next city council meeting is Wednesday, April 9. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion made by Ryan, seconded by Kyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.